The galaxy is old, its empires are powerful, and its wars are endless. Humanity stands. These are the Empyrean Chronicles.
They said the storm was impassable. No fleet willingly entered the Karthus Radiation Storm. Every navigation system in the Orion Spur carried the same warning: unstable plasma, electromagnetic shear, sensor blindness. Ships that entered rarely came out, which was precisely why the Coalition fleet stopped there. Admiral Tevek studied the storm through the bridge viewport. The vast nebula churned like a wounded star, glowing crimson and violet across millions of kilometers. The human fleet had retreated toward it, which made no sense. "Confirm," Tevek said calmly. "The human vessels entered the storm?" A junior officer checked the tactical display again. "Yes, Admiral, all 19 ships." Several officers on the bridge exchanged confused glances. "Impossible," one muttered. Tevek agreed. Human ships were resilient, but not reckless. Radiation storms like Karthus shredded electronics and blinded sensors. Navigation inside the storm would be guesswork at best. No sane commander would hide there, which meant only one thing. "They are desperate," Tevek said. The bridge fell silent. Behind the alien fleet, the human colonies of the outer system burned. Orbital defenses had fallen hours earlier. The human navy had fought hard but was badly outmatched. 19 ships remained, 19 damaged ships. Tevek had expected them to scatter. Instead, they had flown directly into a death trap. "Signal the fleet," Tevek ordered. "Hold position. The storm will destroy them for us." 4 hours later, the storm was still raging. The Coalition fleet waited. Inside the Karthus Radiation Storm, however, things were not nearly as chaotic as the aliens imagined. Captain Mira Tanaka stood on the bridge of the human flagship Resolute. The view outside was almost nothing but fire. Plasma currents rippled across the hull like living lightning. The ship shuddered with every surge of radiation. "Storm intensity?" she asked. "Still climbing," the navigation officer replied. "Sensors are almost blind." "Good." The bridge crew exchanged tired smiles. They had prepared for this. Human engineers had spent decades studying radiation storms after losing entire fleets to them early in humanity's expansion. The solution had not been better shielding. The solution had been accepting blindness. Inside the storm, human ships flew using short-range inertial navigation and predictive drift models. They couldn't see far, but they didn't need to. "Fleet status?" Tanaka asked. 17 ships still in formation, the tactical officer said. 2 lost power during entry. Tanaka nodded quietly. They had known the cost before entering. Every officer on the bridge had volunteered anyway. "Approach vector confirmed," navigation said. "Time to exit storm?" 23 minutes. Tanaka turned toward the tactical display. Beyond the storm, the alien fleet waited. They thought the humans were hiding. They thought the storm had trapped them, which meant they were positioned exactly where Tanaka needed them to be. Admiral Tevek was halfway through a tactical briefing when the alarms began. "Energy spike detected!" The bridge erupted with activity. "Location?" Tevek demanded. The sensor officer stared at the console. "Inside the storm." Impossible. Nothing survived inside the storm long enough to power weapons. "Multiple signatures emerging." The storm's glowing edge suddenly rippled. Then 19 human warships burst from the radiation cloud. They were scarred, hull plates scorched black, shield emitters flickering. But they were moving fast, very fast. "Vector analysis!" Tevek barked. The officer's voice trembled. "They're already inside our formation!" The Coalition fleet had arranged itself to block the storm's outer edge. None of their ships had expected enemies to emerge from inside it. Human vessels erupted out of the radiation cloud like meteors. Missiles launched immediately, railguns fired. The first coalition cruiser exploded before it even raised shields. "Return fire!" Tevek shouted. But confusion spread through the alien fleet. Their sensors were still recalibrating after the storm interference. Human targeting systems had prepared for that. The 19 ships spread apart with practiced precision, each one targeting a different capital ship. "Admiral," a tactical officer said urgently, "they're not attacking randomly." Tevek saw it. The human ships weren't trying to win the battle. They were breaking something. Within seconds, 3 coalition command ships were destroyed. Communication arrays vanished. Fleet coordination collapsed. "Admiral," the sensor officer whispered. "New contacts." Tevek looked back toward the storm. At first he saw nothing. Then the stars shifted. More ships emerged, hundreds of them, civilian transports, refugee convoys, evacuation vessels. They streamed out of the radiation storm in long, silent lines. Human military ships immediately formed escort positions around them. Tevek felt a cold realization settle in his mind. The human fleet had not entered the storm to hide. They had entered to guide the evacuation, and the coalition fleet had unknowingly positioned itself between the refugees and safety, exactly where the humans wanted them. "Admiral," a bridge officer said quietly, "they knew we would wait outside the storm." Tevek said nothing. The humans had gambled everything on one assumption, that the coalition fleet would take the logical path. No commander would enter the storm, which meant the aliens would never expect anyone to come out of it. Another cruiser exploded on the tactical display. Human warships continued striking command vessels with ruthless precision, not seeking total victory. Just chaos, just enough confusion for the evacuation ships to escape. Tevek finally spoke. "Signal full retreat." The bridge went silent. "But Admiral..." "Now!" Coalition ships began pulling away from the storm edge. By the time they reorganized, the human transports were already gone. Only the 19 warships remained. They drifted slowly near the storm's edge. Damaged, outnumbered, but still standing. Tevek stared at them through the viewport. The humans had entered a region no sane fleet would approach. They had navigated blind through lethal radiation, all to guide civilians through a path the enemy believed impossible. A junior officer spoke quietly. "Admiral, why would they take such a risk?" Tevek watched the battered human fleet turn back toward the storm, preparing to disappear once more into the crimson lightning. "Because," he said slowly, "humans do not always choose the safest path." The 19 ships vanished back into the storm. "And that," Tevek finished, "is why they are dangerous."
If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more tales of humanity rising among the stars, please like, comment, and subscribe. New stories are released regularly here on Empyrean Chronicles.